Anyway.
Hello, my name is Johan, and it's an honor to finally meet Bugging Out.
Thank you.
Yeah. My question...
How come you get the brothers on the wall?
Exactly. Great line. I think a lot of people got to know you through the movies you did with director Spike Lee. You did 4 movies with him in a short period of time in the late 80s, early 90s. But since 92, the Malcolm X film, you have not worked with him in a movie. You did a commercial for Fiat last year, which was great. I loved it. But my question is, how come you have not worked with Spike Lee since 1992, the Malcolm X film? And do you think you will work with him again in the near future?
I do, actually. I love Spike, and we had talked after the Fiat commercial last year about his adaptation of Akira Kurosawa's Highest to Lowest. And he had wanted me to do that movie. And my schedule just didn't allow it. My first thought was, I want to work with Spike again when I have a very important role to play in the film. And when he asked me. And the role was okay, and I put my ego aside and said, oh, I had so much fun with him on Fiat. He looked at me and said, you know, I could not see you for 5 years, you know, with a couple of phone calls, and it's like, we know each other. And that's how I feel about Spike. And so I said, yeah, let's figure it out. But I was doing The Boys, I was doing another movie, and there were a couple of days we couldn't figure out, and so I wound up not working on it. But a beautiful thing happened, because prior to me, to him offering me the movie, he had called me and we went to a Knicks game, which we hadn't done in many years. And we were talking about our daughters. His daughter's a photographer, my daughter's a photographer. His daughter just got out of college, my daughter graduated college early, and she wanted to work on a movie. And I said, well, she worked in the camera department on my show, Parish. And she told me eventually she got tired of carrying batteries. And so we had these big batteries, because you had to carry batteries. And I said, well, you know, in Japan, you gotta carry rice, you gotta wash rice for 5 years before you're able to cook it. So, you know, just carry the batteries. Right? This is a story about your dreams coming true. And she came to me one day, and I'm acting and producing and co-directing on this show. And she said, Papa, I've reached out to the production manager to see if I can change my position. I said, excuse me? I said, oh, wow, that's great. So I'm going to interview with the next director, and I want to be the director's assistant. And she did it all on her own. She interviewed, she got it, she from then on, from episode 3 to 6, she assisted the next 3 directors, right? So it's an example of what I've taught my children is ask for what you want. So at the Knicks game with Spike, he said, next day he called me, and I was with my daughter. And he said, so, did you give Ruben my number? Did you give Ruben my number? Give him my number, give him my number. I said, she's right here. And I handed her the phone. And he's like, be at 48, it's 4 o'clock. And she was panicking about bring your resume. And me and the DP, Maddie LaBatique, the great Maddie LaBatique, are going to be there. And long story short, she worked on Highest to Lowest. I did not have the opportunity, but she acquitted herself well and did a great job. And eventually went on to assist him for 2 months after the film was done. She became his assistant. And then I told her to quit. No, I mean, you know, like I said, she said, Papa, like I'm in the office. I said, you know, did you tell Spike? You're not an office girl, you're a filmmaker. Did you get what you needed? Did you learn what you needed? Were you there long enough? I said, you got to stand up for yourself and say, Spike, I love you. I don't belong here. I belong making movies. So, yes, I'll work with Spike Lee again. I love him dearly, and I'm really happy that our families have come to get together in a new way over my daughter Ruby working for him.